I don't know what's happening.
Makes two of us.
Oh, there we go. Black screen.
We have a black screen? Are we on? All right, that'll work. What just happened? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but the music stopped. 10 seconds.
This is a train wreck.
Replay. Replay group in Toronto. I need a replay here.
Oh, this is a train wreck and a half. All right, let's see what happens. This ought to be funny to say the least. What? We're not muted? Awesome! They've been listening to the whole thing. There's a train wreck and a half. This is great. Who cares? It's funny anyway. Hey, Sam, we weren't muted the whole time. We weren't muted. Still aren't. That's it. Well, welcome in, everybody. We'll be there in just a minute. Oh. Up, go get them, mods. The bots are out. You get a live look behind the scenes with BearShark and the Natural. What's up, fat cats? We're the back. We weren't muted the whole time because I'm a bad producer. I forgot to hit the wrong button. And yeah, it is what it is. Hopefully the mods are grabbing those bots. So if you guys are doing that, that would be great. Welcome to Even Strength. We have not been here in a while. It has been 100% this guy's fault.
BearShark, sorry to interrupt. I'm getting word from Toronto. They can't tell if it's a goal or not. So they actually have to go to California to check over there to see if they can determine if it was a goal in Minnesota, who we were checking for in Toronto. So it's now over to California. So we'll come back to you with breaking news when we hear what's going on.
Well, I've got breaking news. I've got breaking news coming out of Arizona. They still have a hockey team.
What?
Yeah. Who knew? Who knew? So, Natural, how are you?
Oh, that's me.
Yeah. You've been called the Natural. You've been called better. You've been called worse.
I've been called good. I've been called bad. You know, the worst insult I've never been called is an Arizona Coyote. But hey, that's okay. I'm fantastic. It's been a week. The NHL is flip-flopped all upside down. We're going to talk about it real soon. Did you know that the new Arizona Coyotes is the St. Louis Blues?
Yes. Did you know that the Rangers, thank you, by the way, to Crystal Palace for giving me that update. Rangers are now up 5-2. It was looking really ugly in the second period. So thank you for that, Crystal. We really I got to take these off. I can't hear.
I can't see anything.
I see. Seeing's overrated. But yeah, I just want to welcome everybody in. What's up, Steve? Wait, I got to get to a real chat where I can see everybody. Gator Ghost is in. Cloud9 Getaways, our sponsor. What's happening?
This is 1080.
Is it good or bad? It looks really bad.
It's on both channels like that, so it's on both chats.
Okay, so our screen is looking really poor. That's not good. Let's take these off and see if I can actually produce a show now. Yeah. For some reason, it's showing up very grainy, but
YouTube automatically downgraded my feed, so make sure that you have your settings set to higher quality.
So let's say hi to everybody, because it's been a while since we've done this and we're really bad at it. So what's up, Gator Goes? Crystal Palace is in the house, my fellow New York Ranger fan. Deanna, how are you? Cloud9 Getaways, our sponsor. If you notice, nope, wrong side. It's over there. We've got his logo up on screen with us the whole time. If you're looking to book travel as a sports agent, he is the travel sports agent out there. What does that mean? That means if you want to go play with your favorite team, call Cloud9 Getaways. He's going to take care of everything, including whatever you need. Let's see. We've got Lucas is here. What's up, Lucas? Explorer Jen. We had bots show up. That means that we did something right. Mad Hatter's in the house. Everybody's showing up. We appreciate you guys coming in. Jacob, what's happening? We just saw you too. But welcome. What has this show become? It has become I don't know. That's a good question. So
it's become elevated to new heights. That's what it's become.
It's elevated, huh? I don't like elevators. So, Rangers update. Rangers are now winning 5-2. It's the first time I think we're winning in a while because the Rangers have been little mediocre. So, you guys look like you're having some issues too, so I don't feel so bad. And yes, that is Cloud9 Getaway. That is his new brand logo. We're trying it out tonight to see what people think of it. So that's his new logo. I wonder who made that for you. He looks like a pretty good graphic designer. Let's see. Is there anything I can do to boost signal? Because the signal looked pretty bad.
Are there any extra 9 volts kicking around that we can plug in?
Hang on. Need to get some batteries. All right, there we go. So anyway, it is what it is. We'll have to deal with it. Tonight, we're going to be discussing NHL news, I guess, and some fantasy news as well, because it's been rumored we started a fantasy league.
It's been rumored, it's been verified, and it has been confirmed, and it has been a crazy start to the fantasy pool. It's been lots of fun, up and down, positions changing all the time. Right now, the leader only has a 1-point lead over second place. The bottom of the barrel is pretty far back, but I would say there's 1, 2, 3, 4 teams all potentially in the running. With the next couple, they can make a big comeback. So it's going to be pretty awesome to see how it plays out.
Is this a therapy show for traumatized hockey fans? Pretty much. I think that's actually a great description of what we've become. Why don't you?
My name is Sam, and I'm a hockey fan.
Hi, I'm Dave. I'm a Coyotes fan.
So let's start there. Can we start at the bottom with Arizona? But they're not even at the bottom, so it makes it so much harder.
They're not.
So this is what's going on. Of course, we started the season. We lost to the Coyotes tier, but I really wanted to give a special shout out and a big congratulations to Bernie. I know Bernie's not here right now unless he's ninja watching, but a huge congratulations to Bernie for joining the I Lost to the Arizona Coyotes club. So congrats, Bernie, for the Capitals going down. And Dave, you guys came very, very close to joining that club as well.
About that close. Are you kidding me? The whole night, because I'm not sure if I called that game because I haven't called a game in a while because we have like 5 businesses that we run, and they're for whatever reason they all decided to explode at once, and so I've kind of been a little busy. So my apologies to everybody who's reached out saying, "Where are you?" Well, I'm right here, but we have live streaming channels, a concierge business, we have a boxing service, personal shopping. Like there's so many things that we do, and everything kind of took off. So my apologies, I haven't called a Ranger game. I think I called that game because I remember if I wasn't live, I was sitting there going, for the love of God, I hope Sam's not watching this. Because I knew in my heart of hearts, you had just lost to them. And I'm going, I'm never going to hear the end of this. And we pulled it off. What's up, Gordon?
I think I was doing a game at the same time, and I had my eye on it, and I was like, yes, yes, yes. And then all of a sudden it turned around, and I was.
We've been playing such piss poor hockey. I think we're 6-5-3. And from a team that started off really well, we're doing really poor right now. We're falling apart in front of the net. We have a lot of things that are really screwed up. And yes, Jacob, thank you for pointing that out because we're bad hosts. There are 2 chats running. So if you see us talking to one person, you need to go, who are they talking to? They might be in Sam's chat or in my chat. If you have not given both chats a like, we do this deliberately so that this way we can bring our 2 communities together because we're all hockey fans. Go over to the other channel, hit the like button, watch for a minute, make a comment, interact, and then try and share it out so that the show can grow a little bit because we are going to get back into weekly shows and getting back into doing this every week. We have a fantasy league, so we've got to make sure that we're giving you guys the updates, but we're also talking about the hockey aspect as well. So thank you for that, Jacob. I appreciate it. But yeah, it was embarrassing, and we've been playing embarrassing hockey. I mean, I don't even have an excuse other than the fact that we just keep breaking down in front of the net. And I think Shesterkin's like, oh yeah, well, if you're going to play the crap, I'm not playing well.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because it doesn't end there with the Coyotes. The universe has had its almost last laugh. The universe has gotten back at me. So, I'm a hockey card guy. And so last season, we bought a bunch of boxes. We opened them up, and we hit every Arizona hit you could get, which is not good. So yesterday was release day for the 22-23 Upper Deck Series 1 to come out. So, of course, we had to buy a couple of boxes and crack those open. Well, the Arizona curse continues. We hit every Arizona hit you can hit. We got in one box, you get 6 young guns. 3 of those were Arizona Coyotes. Like, come on. There's like 50 young guns in the set. When I opened the second box, I got doubles of the Arizona Coyotes.
That's spectacular.
The things we were pulling, it's just not possible to happen. We defied the odds big time. So the Coyote gods, yes, you got me good. You had the last laugh.
Welcome in Bernie DC. He's in the house, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, I mean,
Bernie, I congratulated you for joining the club, the losing to the Coyote Club. So welcome in. Your membership card will be lost somewhere.
It's you have to go find it under one of the 5,000 seats. It's taped to the bottom. Should take you about 15 minutes. So, basically, I think a lot of things this year in hockey world, you and I were kind of patting ourselves on the back before season started. We're like, oh, we're really good at this, and and we've been really wrong.
Really wrong. Like, yeah. I don't know what's happening right now, but the NHL is topsy-turvy.
It's a full moon.
The Boston Bruins were going to be at the bottom. They had so many players out. We didn't think they would be doing anything. And Boston's leading the East right now. They're 11-2.
Yep.
Don't understand it. The New Jersey Devils, man, we were pulling that team apart. They're in second place right now. The New York Islanders, who? Yeah, they're in third place.
You mean now. The team that just beat me?
Yeah, that's right. No, we knew the Red Wings were going to have an improved team. We didn't think they'd be in fourth place. You know, we predicted that the Panthers would still be up there. We knew Carolina was going to be strong. Toronto, thank God for the last 4 games or 5 games where they have a point in at least each of those games. But they've climbed up. You know, they now have 7 wins, but they were hurting. They were really, really hurting. So they finally put some wins together. But yeah, if you look at the bottom, like Rangers sitting there on 11th behind Montreal.
Yeah.
Yikes. Buffalo down there. We thought Buffalo was going to be better. The Capitals down there. Pittsburgh is down there. Ottawa. All these teams we thought were going to have a good start to the season.
So the only thing that I'll say is this. Just like everything in this world. What's up, DD98? Let me just say this, okay? Because this is how I feel about life in general. Anybody who peaks early in life never does well long term. So we're getting the bugs ironed out. We lost a lot of people this year. And if you remember, I railed against the Rangers in the offseason when we let Strome and Kopp and a couple other really key components go. And I said, we're going to fill it in either with garbage or kids, and it's going to take a little while for us to get going. Well, they came out of the box really strong, and I think it was just luck. And you know, this is kind of what I expected from the Rangers. I expected us to be a 500 team for the first month. They have not let me down. They are a 500 team. And I think we might start to see some improvements. I really cannot say anything about our physicality because what physicality? I don't know. This is kind of what I expected. Boston, I think, is my surprise. And the Devils really, really kind of, I think they surprised both of us.
Shocking. Yeah. And you know what? It's funny because it's not just the East. It's going on in the West as well. I mean, Vegas couldn't get their acts together. They're out here crushing it, 12-2 to start the year. And then my surprise pick this year, and I think I even kind of said this in the preseason, but I kind of said it jokingly, the Seattle Kraken sitting in second place in the East.
Right? Like what? Like, I don't know. I mean, again, I go back to, and I guess I have to just say, you know, it is the beginning of the season. We are talking about the Rangers are what, 6-5-3. So we're talking a whopping 14 games. We're not even a fifth of the way or a third of the way. I'm going up in number, a 7th of the way through a 50th of the way through the season. And I mean, it's early. A lot of teams are starting to get healthy. They're starting to gel. I think you're going to see a lot of obviously changes going towards the end of the year. I don't know. It should be interesting.
One of the predictions you did get spot on. The Colorado Avalanche with that stunning goaltender that they picked up in the offseason is costing them because they're sitting in 7th place right now, and he has not looked good. I'm feeling really sorry for the sucker who picked him up in the hockey pool.
I told you not to do it. I've warned everybody against George, or Georgiev as he's known around the world. I tried to warn everybody. Look, anybody who watches a goaltender who's like seeing him day in and day out knows what his weaknesses and strengths are. He's a great backup goaltender. That's all he is. He is not meant to carry the workload. And as soon as you put that solely on him, I knew he would crumble. I knew he couldn't handle the job. I thought the same thing about Cam Talbot. I thought he was a great backup goaltender. He has not been an elite goaltender. What's really funny is tonight before the Detroit game, Detroit Ranger game, I was forced to watch the beginning, you know, like because they were at home in Detroit, and they were talking about something you and I talked about on Even Strength like a month ago, and it was about goaltenders who deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, and they were discussing Chris Osgood, and I remember saying to you, his numbers are good, but does he deserve to go in? And if I remember correctly, I think I said I guess he should go in, and you had to hear it. It was 15-minute segment about Chris Osgood and why he should go into the Hockey Hall of Fame. And the only thing I could sit there and say is, you got to lobby for him for 15 minutes on television to try and get him in. Like, okay, maybe it solidifies the fact he shouldn't go. I mean, just because he's a 401 goaltender or 401 wins, so what? Like, okay, so he's a a 905 goalie. Great. I don't know. I just think it's funny because of the fact that we had this conversation. They brought it up tonight, and then to look at Georgiev the way that he's playing, he's done exactly what I said he would do. That one was easy because as a former Ranger, I know what his capabilities are. I'm just surprised how stunningly wrong we were about some of these other teams. Like, wow, hold on a second. DD98 just said shorthanded. Wow, 8-2 Rangers. It figures it's the one game I'm not watching, and I'm not calling, and we're doing even straight. The Rangers are killing it. It's because it's a dad's trip, by the way. All the dads are there, and they don't feel like getting heckled by their old men.
Yes, and you know who else is having a good night tonight? It finally for Columbus is Johnny Gaudreau.
Gaudreau did it, yeah.
Who is this? About time. He's been hurting me too.
He's had a rough run at it. There's no doubt. I've been waiting to see him turn it on a little bit. I think Columbus kind of sat there and said, "Hey, look, we're playing Tortorella tonight. Please go out and shellac him." The Rangers didn't do it because when we played Philadelphia, we got killed. I don't know. It's been a weird hockey year. There's no doubt. Good part is there's more in front of us than behind us. Need a Ranger explosion with all that dead weight. Bernie. I didn't expect them to be as bad as they're showing right now because they're not making a great showing. Tonight, 8-2, that should be helping you because depending upon who's scoring, that should be helping out a lot. And I don't remember who took Shesterkin in the league.
I don't know
because they've been getting pounded. I think it's Bernie.
I want to say you're correct. Let me take a look. Well, I'm pulling that up. Just so we call.
Thanks, DD98.
Talking about the hockey pool. First place is still Detroit Damien Dazzling Dogs. Up there, 114 total points, just crushing it. Second place with 110. Oh, these are last nights. Let me go to the live stats so we can.
Bernie's got Igor.
Bernie's got Igor. So 111.5 points. Oh, it just changed. So look at that. Detroit's Damien Dazzle Dogs, second place. A little chunky sauce is in first place.
Oh, come on. Someone's got their name. They changed the name of their team to Little Chunky Sauce. Yeah. I love that.
It's awesome. The Believer in third with 96 points. California Golden Seals just behind there. And then What the Puck came smashing all the way up from 9th place to 5th. DC Deep Freeze is in 6th. Yours truly has climbed up the leaderboard to 7th. Tijuana Donkey Show. Tijuana Donkey Show kicked it off. They were leading us. They were atop the leaderboard when we started in the Tijuana. It's just plummeted to the ass of the division. And
they're part of the Donkey Show right now.
They're down there.
Captain Morgan is a hockey god. That's fantastic.
Jordan's Disney Wish, which he's riding right now.
Yes.
He's in 9th, and then Chocolate Starfish, which I think is our proud sponsor, is bringing up the pie in 10th place.
Hey, well, someone's got to be there, right? I'll tell you what, he's got the Chocolate Starfish tattooed right on his forehead. Unbelievable.
So, yeah. It's been crazy. I watch these every night, and the battle for top spot just flip-flops like crazy. So it's great to see lots of action.
Hey, there's always lots of action at a Tijuana Donkey Show. What's up, Jonathan?
Spectacular. Just spectacular. Where do you go from there?
Okay, so on fantasy right now, obviously we're talking flip-flopping first and second. How far back is third and fourth?
So first and second, so 110 points is second place. Third place is 96, and then fourth place is 93. So there's a chance, right? And it could change very, very quickly. So,
oh yeah. That's half the fun of this. I mean, especially when you talk about what the point totals are and the fact that we're, 10 days in. Those are high point totals. That means that there's a lot of good scoring going on. So Bernie just put it in perspective, which if it wasn't Sam's channel as well attached to this, I would read that off publicly.
Oh boy.
I would love to read that out loud. If this was on FPEN Sports or on BearShark TV, I would read that. Rangers win. I repeat, the Rangers win. Whoop, 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 whoop. And Chris going with the chocolate starfish joke as well, which again, Sam is a PG show, everybody, so I have to behave. More to come on my show.
But you know, look at some of these other scores. The Carolina Hurricanes are crushing the Oilers 7-2.
Hold on a second. I gotta read this one. Tijuana Chunky Donkey Sauce merger.
Oh goodness.
Okay.
Yeah. So 7-2 Carolina, 5-3 Vegas putting up a 5 spot on the Sabres.
Hey, I'd eat that. Sorry.
Oh gosh.
Okay, I'm listening. Hockey.
In other news, and the more serious news, if I can be serious for a moment, Evander Kane suffering a pretty serious injury, pretty gruesome injury the other day. He was skating around a little collision and had his wrist slashed by a skate, and just a scary incident. He managed to get off. Looks like they covered up the wound okay. Got him stitched up, and he'll be okay. But he's going to be out for some.
I was going to say that injury is going to be, they're going to say that it's a week-to-week injury, but the truth is that's not true. Anytime you get a deep laceration like that, you're going to have to, you're talking at least a month, because I mean, if he got anywhere near, one of the main veins or arteries, like that's a significant injury. He gets slashed with a stick, it's going to open up again. You have potentials for a while. Out 3 to 4 months after the procedure they did at the hospital. So he's out for months. I didn't see that 3 or 4 month update. I figured they were going to say 6 to 8 weeks, but that's a serious injury. So, and that's not ever something that you want to see. Truthfully, and I would ask you this question: are you surprised it doesn't happen more?
I am actually. I'm quite surprised it doesn't happen as much as it does, or it doesn't happen as much as it could, because the pads, the way the elbow pad does, it actually does come down lower on the arm now, and the glove does come up a little bit higher. But they're so flimsy, and the way the jerseys kind of ride up, it's such a fluke thing, right? We're lucky we're not seeing players intentionally going to kick somebody or step on somebody.
I think at that level, they know better, number one. Number two, I think if they intentionally use their skate blade, I believe it becomes criminal at that point. It would have to be. And then last but not least, I'm going to go so far as to say this to you. I'm not just talking about like a wrist slash. How many times have you seen guy goes into the boards, there's 4 or 5 guys, one goes down, he kicks his feet up. Yeah. That blade doesn't hit anybody, which blows my mind, because the entire back part of the leg, for the most part, is completely uncovered. You're talking about the areas right here are uncovered. Around here is totally not covered. Their face is not covered for the most part. Maybe you got an eye tech. But let's be perfectly honest. I mean, there's a lot of exposed area. There's a lot of, and I'm going to be the guy who says it like this. There's a lot of stupid hockey being played right now, in the sense of how many times have you and I made fun of somebody who came across the ice with their head down? That is literally Pee Wee Hockey 101 rule, is head up. And you have NHLers that are skating down like this with their head down. They have no idea of situational awareness on the ice. So if they're not situationally aware when they're coming across mid-ice with the puck, then how come they're so aware where their skates are? I think it should be happening more often. I'm just surprised.
So we've seen a couple little brushes, like little scrape, little this and that, but man, the serious ones are kind of once in a long time opportunity where it happens.
So saw Princess Crosby cross-check February 4 times, no call last night.
The amount of cross-checking is out of control.
It is.
In the corners in front of the net, we saw. Do you remember last year, Buffalo Toronto outdoor game? Matthews gets frustrated. He cross-checks Dolan in the face, gets a suspension. Well, in our game a couple nights ago, Michael Bunting, wreaking havoc in front of the net, takes a cross-check to the face. No call, no penalty, no suspension, no nothing. It's like business as usual now. The amount of cross-checking is just crazy, especially in the corners. We saw our defensemen give 5 cross-checks, and the ref's sitting there going, play on, play on.
Well, see, and that's actually what Bernie's saying. Between having the head down in the middle of the ice and being lax when they're going to get pucks, I'm going to take both of what you guys are talking about and combine it into one thing. I'll put it to you this way. My biggest problem with the cross-check is if you're trying to protect players and you have somebody that's the head keeps going back, you got more potential for them to losing balance, especially by the boards. If anyone can actually tell me right now, because I know that Bernie will spout it off, probably even give me the rule book number and page, but what is boarding? Because I can't tell anymore. I don't know what boarding is. I see things that look like it should be a board. Instead, they're calling it a cross-check. I mean, you got a guy who's 3 feet from the boards. You cross-check him head first. You're hitting both numbers, and he's going face first into the boards. That's definition boarding. We're not, but we're not calling it. And when they're in front of the net, you can almost take pure liberties with the exception of slew footing somebody. And it's okay now. So I think that they're going to have to tighten up on it because it can't stay this way. The cross-checking is ridiculous. The heads down across the ice, that's just bad coaching. That's just bad, across the board. The lax going into the boards, stupid, but this cross-checking thing can be stopped. All you got to do is call it and it'll go away.
Yep, I agree. We know, we talked about it a couple weeks back, the reverse retro jerseys now making their appearances. All the teams starting to wear those. Some are okay, some are not. But what was really cool, which made its appearance the other day in Philadelphia, the Cooperalls are back. Do you remember the Cooperalls from back in the day? For those who don't, they're, instead of the hockey pants, it's like wearing sweatpants with a big orange stripe down the side in some padding. They were awesome. They only wore them for warm-up. They didn't wear them in the game. But and they look awesome.
So Bernie brings up a good point, which, by the way, those pants are hideous. They're horrible. However, they would stop a lot more cuts if skate blades came up. But we're not having a problem with that. So Bernie brings up a good point. Because they've let it get so out of hand, you would have no continuity to a game if they called everything. The problem is when you get to this level, you're not supposed to be playing like you're in 11th grade hockey. You're supposed to know what you should and shouldn't do. You're supposed to try and get away with it. I get that. One of the things I agree with, but I think is a stupid rule, and I know that that's a total oxymoron, but so am I, is the hook on the hands. All right. If you're actually grabbing on the hands themselves as the player's skating down the ice, okay, that's bad. But they're getting it wrong when they're trying to lift the stick. And lifting the stick is the only move. Like, if you're going to have, and I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for this comment, shaft to shaft contact, you've got to lift that stick up. But inevitably what's going to happen is both players are moving, that stick blade is going to hit them in the hands. And they're getting a lot of those hooking calls. We're going to a place where, in order to bring it back to center, so to speak, they're going to have to overcall some things, and people are going to have to realize cross-checking can't happen. But how many people would be in the box? 9? At one time? I mean, it would be a little ridiculous. Dallas Hockey Girl, what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, shaft-to-shaft contact is okay in ice hockey, just not in ball hockey.
Yes. And so the other thing that's got to stop, and I was going to say this, and I'm pretty sure, Bernie got to it before I did. Clean hits that start a fight. Dude, it's a clean hit. He knocked the guy on his ass. Get over it. Okay. If you want to go back and wail on him in the boards, knock yourself out. That's what hip checks are made for. That's what body contact is made for. But the guy got hit clean and they're dropping the gloves. Do I like it? Actually, I do. I think it's good for the game too. But at the same time, I don't know. I think it's stupid.
Yeah, it's crazy. We saw an incident in the Toronto game. Matthews hit somebody, then they were going after Matthews, and you can't.
I saw it.
Here comes Giordano, just Goldberg spears the guy out of his skates, gets back up, Bunting jumps in. Everyone's jumping in to protect Matthews, which is awesome. It's great to see. But if you get hit, take a number, look for a hit later on. You can't just turn around and say, I'm mad, you hit me, let's fight.
It's new hockey is reflecting our new world in the sense of instant gratification. And it's stupid. It's supposed to be a positional game. It's supposed to be like chess. You're supposed to go out there, like you said, what number hit me? Okay, why? So that, first of all, your top scorers should not be retaliating. This is why we have enforcers. If Pillow Hands got off his ass, hopped over the boards on the next shift, and took his shift for him for 30 seconds, skates over and wails the guy into the first row, it sends the message. You hit my guy, my bigger guy is going to come out and hit your little guy.
It's like baseball, right? Pitcher hits a batter. A couple innings later, they're going to turn around and throw at your player.
Exactly right. So I have an issue with it because if we're talking in non-hypotheticals, you get somebody like when they hit Gretzky, the entire Oiler team hit everybody on your team. Okay. And they didn't go after the fighter. They went after whoever your leading goal scorer was. That's what you should do, because if you're going to hit my guy, everyone on my team is going to hit your guy. Can't hear you, Sam. We're now dealing with this now. We're like 40 minutes in.
Let me try.
So while you're doing that, the bottom line is, enforcers are there to, and a lot of people don't understand the job of a fighter. The fighter it's not supposed to be Pillow Hands against Sidney Crosby. Why? Because he's going to beat the shit out of him and his head's going to get popped in. It's supposed to be Tom Wilson versus Reeves. You're not supposed to have two, like a mismatch. Does it happen? Sure. Should it happen? No. It should be enforcer on enforcer. However, if Tom Wilson takes Antemi Panarin and slams his head on the ice, what should have happened if we had a Ryan Reeves at the time was to take any one of their small little itty bitty guys and hit him so hard that he looked like a Wile E. Coyote cutout on the glass. And that's what you do. But we're not seeing that. And we're seeing a misalignment in the league again. It'll come back. You're completely gone.
How about now?
You're good.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. We've seen so many times where little Morgan Riley, who's nothing, is jumping in to defend his players because nobody else is. I don't know if they're afraid. Who knows? But you got to have those guys that show the heart and determination. And that's what keeps the team together.
Yeah.
We know the enforcers are a dying breed.
It shouldn't be.
You're not there. I agree. It shouldn't be. But you need to have those players to stand up and get in there.
And before you go on, the one thing I'll say, because you said it about the enforcers being a dying breed, think about this sport versus any other sport. It's the only time that a ref can get the call wrong. You can beat the crap out of the guy, go to the box for 5 minutes, and come back.
Yeah, that's so true. Remember we spoke a while ago when the interest of Justin Bieber purchasing the Ottawa Senators was floating around. Well, he now has some competition.
Lady Gaga?
Daredevil, not Daredevil. Deadpool himself, Ryan Reynolds, has come out and said he's very interested in purchasing the Ottawa Senators.
Well, Lady Gaga threw her hat in the ring and said she wanted to buy the Coyotes.
Really?
No.
No.
But you wouldn't disbelieve it, though. It's like, hey, if you're going to take an absolute shit show and make it even better, how do you do that? You throw Lady Gaga into the mix, she could probably pack that. You know what? That 5,000, she would fill it, even though they can't.
She'd sing the anthem every game, and then she'd finish, and then everybody would leave.
So let me tell you something. I would love to see Ryan Reynolds get involved. I mean, he owns a cell phone company, Mint Mobile.
They bought that soccer team.
I mean, I got to be honest with you. You talk about an entrepreneur's entrepreneur. Ryan Reynolds is phenomenal. And could you imagine the pep talk he would give in the locker room?
It would be outstanding. So
I would come dressed as Deadpool and go walking into the locker room.
That would be very, very cool if it happened. And it seems to be picking up more and more steam as the days go by. We know Ottawa in the league has done all the paperwork and everything they need to do to officially announce a team is up for sale. So we know it is going to be for sale, unless there's any other kind of bidders out there that are looking at kind of Ryan Reynolds thinking, I have more money than you, so it's not going to be a no contest. You got to imagine there's not going to be much of a bidding war. Plus the PR he's going to bring to that franchise.
Ryan Reynolds is going to be hard to beat as an owner and monetarily, because he had I think it was a gin company, and he sold it for I think it was like $1 billion. It was Aviator Gin. He's now owns Mint Mobile. He owns a soccer team. He owns a bunch of things. So the problem is, not only does he have credibility, he's got money, and he's a very, very good entrepreneur. You look at Justin Bieber. I have so many jokes that I can't get one out. And I mean, I'm sorry, but the press conference of Ryan Reynolds taking over the ownership of the Ottawa Senators, I would watch it just to see what he does.
It would be phenomenal. Listen, Green Lantern 2 might take place running through the Ottawa Auditorium.
I'm telling you right now, if he doesn't come dressed up as Deadpool, if he doesn't dress as Deadpool for every game, it's not worth it.
Some other Ottawa news: the Ottawa Senators have announced Chris Neal's number 25 is going to be retired in February. It's interesting to me because Chris Neal, he's your enforcer, right? He's your tough guy. He had a long history in Ottawa, did a great job. Hated when he played against Toronto. I don't know if he's the guy I'd retire his jersey, though.
I wouldn't. Now, what would make it more interesting to me is if you're going to retire an enforcer's number, can we change the Ottawa Senators from that to Deadpool's head? It's already black and red, so it's already Deadpool colors. Let's just go ahead and put that on there, or at least put a patch on the shoulder.
The shoulder patch would be sick.
Like,
that would be awesome.
Just give me something Deadpool. This way, when it goes up into the rafters, like, I know it's an enforcer. Ottawa loses in overtime with 32 seconds left.
There you go. Ryan Reynolds wouldn't settle for that. He'd turn that team right around.
He would explain to them that that he had 12 bullets and that 3 people were going to have to share one.
Yeah, exactly. In other kind of news, again, more of the serious news. You heard the signing, the Boston Bruins with this prospect Mitchell Miller, who had this storied past of bullying and a whole bunch of bad stuff he did. Well, the NHL came out and said Mitchell Miller is not welcome in the NHL. He's not eligible to play, nor will he ever be, for everything that he did. And that, the NHL was pretty steamed that Boston never consulted them before signing this kid. Well, Boston has now turned around and have parted ways. They've kind of ixnayed that deal, which is the right thing to do. They shouldn't have done it in the first place. But
here's the thing, though. You kind of, and I don't blame you, but you kind of skirted over what he did. And what it should tell all youth, if you're going to be a Ute player, what can happen to you as a kid, even though you thought it was a harmless prank or something stupid, has come back and ruined his professional career. Here's someone that is good enough to play in the league, gets a contract, and is not eligible to play in the league due to player community guideline standards because you were a scumbag as a kid. What you do as a kid does have ramifications in the future. and they need to be they need to make sure that, as Bernie said, you shouldn't be driving a 64 metallic green Ford Tempest or a Skylock. So you kids, if you're watching this, and you shouldn't be, because I'm not kid worthy. What you do as a kid can affect you as an adult, but it literally is. As I said before, this is millennial hockey now, right? So we're now social justicing things. We're now doing those things, and that's fine. As long as the standard is equal for everybody, I don't care. I think it should be applied to Tony DeAngelo. The guy's an actual pro, actually playing, and made racist comments about Keandre Miller, and is still playing in the league. If you're going to single out one, single out them both. If anyone has something disparaging to say about somebody or does something disparaging towards another individual, it should be reviewed. And if you're not eligible to play, you should be getting kicked out, and his contract should be void, and he should owe the money back to the team. But, at the end of the day, I don't know what the standard is, because I did read the article. I did read what he did. It's reprehensible. We don't want a league like that. We want a league of ambassadors. I want what I saw come out of Mika Zivanejad's mouth in between first and second period. They kept trying to push him because his dad did the lineup in the locker room, and they showed it because it's dad week. So they kept saying, well, you scored the goal. How was it? And he kept giving credit to Adam Fox. Even though Adam Fox didn't score a goal, that's what hockey players are supposed to do. They're supposed to elevate themselves. They're supposed to be ambassadors for the sport. Tony DeAngelo is not an ambassador for the sport. I challenge you at any time, Tony, if you're watching this or ever get wind of this, anytime you want to come to Florida, I would love to have this conversation with you, because you're a pile of crap. Anyway, my rant over.
There you go. Talking about boarding, that we just had that conversation. Josh Anderson from Montreal suspended 2 games for boarding Vegas defenseman Peter Angelo.
I didn't.
Given a 5-minute major and a game misconduct, and his suspension is going to cost him just about $60,000 worth of salary.
See, I didn't see it, so I will go back and look at it now that you mentioned it, because I'm still curious what boarding is. I don't know what, and by the way, that's a heavy board to get a 2-game suspension and lose pay. So I'm very curious what they called, because there doesn't seem like there's anything in between. It's either it's really bad or there's 2 minutes.
Yep. And speaking of suspensions, Matt Tkachuk also getting suspended for 2 games for sticking his stick through Jonathan Quick's.
Did you see that?
Ridiculous. I don't think this is the first time he's done this.
It's not the first time. He should be gone.
Yeah. And his 2-game suspension is going to cost him almost $103,000. So making just a little bit more than what Josh did.
So let me ask you a question. Wouldn't it be better if they had to donate the money?
That would be fantastic. And that's something they should do.
It should be one of those things where it's not that they forfeit the pay. They should have to donate it, and it should have to go to take your pick as to what it should be. But I'm going to go ahead and say, first of all, if you're a Tkachuk family, a friend, if you like them, they all suck. There hasn't been a Tkachuk that's ever played that I didn't think should be hit by a bus. The 2 kids that are playing right now are dirty pieces of crap. I hate them both. I honestly don't think I'd want them as Rangers, because I don't think that they represent the sport well. What I saw him do to Quick the other night, dude, how he left the ice not on a gurney. I'm sorry. There's no excuse for this. When LA plays them again, can you imagine what they're going to do to him? There would not be a shift that he went on, that he didn't get slew-footed, that he didn't get punched in the face, that he doesn't get a stick in the throat. I'm sorry, but I get suspended that game.
Yeah, it was a dirty move.
He is horrible. He and DeAngelo should create their own sport.
There you go.
Hate them.
Here's a tweet from the RCMP Manitoba. So for those who don't know, Manitoba is up here in Canada, one of our provinces. So the RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, tweeted out this reminder: 911 is only for emergencies. Last night, the RCMP Manitoba received a 911 call from a man asking where he could rent a Zamboni for an upcoming hockey tournament. We understand that in Canada, this can be an emergency to some. However, this is not a valid reason to dial 911.
He meant to dial 411. He wanted information on where he could get it. He just hit the wrong button. He'd had a couple too many Molsons. It's all good.
Just a couple. Oh, that's so funny. So funny. Makes you wonder. So that's some of the news stories. I don't know if you saw this one. We didn't get a chance to talk about it before the season started, but the EA did their NHL 23 simulation of who's going to win the Stanley Cup. And this time it is not, what was it last year? I think the Nashville Predators was who was favored to win the cup just before the playoffs started. So this one, I'll tell you the first round matchups, and I'll get you to tell me, who wins, because I know you love the pick'ems. Kicking it off, the Rangers and the Islanders.
Rangers.
First round. Rangers. All right, correct. Rangers go on. Pittsburgh, Carolina Hurricanes.
Carolina.
No, Pittsburgh wins that, and they go on to face the Rangers.
Rangers.
I'm not going to jump ahead.
I know.
Florida Panthers, Toronto Maple Leafs, which, God, I can't watch this in the first round.
Maple Leafs.
Maple Leafs, correct. Boston and Tampa Bay.
Boston.
Boston is correct. So that leaves us Boston, Toronto in the second round.
Toronto.
Correct. Toronto goes on. Then the Rangers and the Pens.
Rangers.
Said the Rangers. They picked the Pittsburgh Penguins. So then it would be the Penguins and the Maple Leafs. Who goes to the Stanley Cup final?
The Rangers.
They have the Pittsburgh Penguins going all the way to the final, winning the East.
No way.
Now, out on the West, the Colorado Avalanche versus the Nashville Predators.
Predators, because they're no. All right.
This is Colorado. According to this, and of course, this was before this disastrous start for the Blues, but the Blues in the Wild in the first round.
Blues in the Wild in the first round. Blues, Wild. I'm going Wild.
No, the simulation picked the Blues. And then Calgary, Vancouver. I think Vancouver would have a long way to go, but
Calgary, Vancouver. I go Calgary.
They have Calgary, and then Edmonton, Seattle, which, man, that would be the way both teams are playing.
I was going to say with the way it's going right now, it's a crapshoot, but I'd like to see Seattle go.
I would kind of like to see Seattle.
But it's Edmonton.
But it's Edmonton, and that tears up the second round of Calgary, Edmonton, the Battle of Alberta again.
Calgary.
So the simulation says the Oilers, and then the Blues Avalanche.
Blues.
So this says Avalanche. It's Colorado, Edmonton. And who do you think the simulation picked?
Colorado.
Colorado. So it's Colorado, Pittsburgh for the Stanley Cup final.
Colorado wins.
I will tell you, it goes 7 games. You say Colorado. They picked the Pittsburgh Penguins to win the Cup in 7 games.
Now, let's go ahead and redo this because Pittsburgh gets knocked out in the first round by the Rangers. Because, first of all, they didn't take enough Geritol to make it through the playoffs. So they're not going to win. That's number one. No. And to be perfectly fair, I think that the Western Conference is so backwards right now that I don't know how they could be formulating those opinions, because right now Seattle's doing something you and I didn't think they could do. Yep. The Oilers are, I don't know how they're doing, but the one game I watched, it was not great. So I don't know. And right now, what are we talking about? Georgiev sucks in net. They're only picking them to be that high up because they're the defending Stanley Cup champions. I think they got this wrong. I think they're way off. If I had to pick who I thought was going to be, if we were talking today, like today, who's going to be in the cup? I definitely don't pick the Avalanche. So I probably go, if I was picking East, West, if I had to pick it today, and I'm not going to pick Boston because they're 11-2 because it's stupid, and the Devils are going to implode. So like you're never going to get me to do that. You could see. I don't think Tampa's playing great. I think Florida's okay right now. I think a lot of the teams that we were talking about just haven't gotten going. I mean, obviously, I'd like to call Rangers and the worst team in the West, but yeah, it's not going to happen. I think Toronto has a good shot. I think that Carolina has a decent shot. But if I was going to call it, I'd probably who the hell would I pick?
It's hard so early because we know everything is so backwards that like you almost just can't even put it together.
It is hard because there's no, like, even though you have standout teams right now, first of all, records only reflect what did we say? They're 11-2. That's 13 games. I mean, come on, it's 13 games. I mean, if we were going to do that and just pick, who's at the top of the leaderboard, it's a joke of a series. But I still think the teams that are built right are the ones we're talking about. I think they're going to take a little bit of time. Plus, also, EA is not taking into consideration there are trade deadlines that are going to happen and that are going to shake teams up.
Of course. So here's another one. We know it's all crazy.
Oh, it's Christmas party.
I hope somebody's going to do it again, closer to the midway point of the season and do it with the way those standings are.
Well, I think worst case scenario, we run it.
There you go.
Because and the reason you see me looking around is I thought I was in Kandahar. The Disney Christmas party's going off. It's 10 o'clock. I'm like, and their perimeters literally, because the wind is actually still blowing over our house from the tropical storm. One of the shells just literally shook a picture on my wall. So yeah, it's a little close.
What's going on, Russia? Hello,
Luke's, what's happening?
So you know how I always like my fun and wacky and wild stats?
No.
Well, here is one. An NHL fact about our good friend who we've never met, Alex Ovechkin, Bernie's uncle. No, he's not really Bernie's uncle.
You don't know that.
Alex Ovechkin has scored against 163 different goalies in his career. Only Jaromir Jagr, Patrick Marleau, and Mark Messier have scored against more. So Jagr scored against 178 goalies, Marleau 177, and Messier 160.
But look at the age of if you tally all four players together, they're older than dirt.
It's so true. But he's still going, right? He's still going to play another season or two or three.
Well, I mean, as an animatronic, he should play for another couple of seasons, right? I mean, when you're artificially made in a factory, I think that's what happens. Look at Jagr.
Yeah.
Jagr, they're still trying to figure out how to get the battery out of him. Sorry.
So true. In talking about Ovi, there was this graphic that came out the other day that Sid and Ovi are tied with total career points, 1,423 points, right? Which is amazing because these two, when they both came in, were compared. Who's going to be better? Is it going to be Crosby, Ovechkin? They've been compared their entire career. This is how the numbers shake out. Crosby has played 1,120 games. Ovechkin has played 1,288. So he's played 160 some odd games more.
That's because Sidney Crosby's got 14 concussions.
This is true. So Ovechkin has 788 goals when this was done, when this graphic was taken. Crosby only has 523. Crosby has 900 assists, which is crazy. And Ovechkin has 635. 900 assists. That's
You know why? Because he's not good enough to score. The problem that you have is I at least respect Ovechkin because he plays every side of the puck. He's a guy who will get absolutely walloped. Get up, adjust his helmet, get back into the play, and go score. Sidney Crosby will get up, go stick your goaltender in the throat, bang your coach in the head with the stick as he goes by, bitch about it to the ref, then get concussed and stay out for 6 weeks and complain the entire time in news media. I don't respect the man at all. Even though he's got the accomplishments and the accolades to go with it, he's a rat face. I can't stand him. At least Ovechkin plays both sides, both ways. He's a hard-nosed hockey player. I've never liked Ovechkin because he's a Ranger killer. But at the end of the day, you have to respect his career, his numbers, and what he's been able to do and accomplish as a hockey player. Having said that, I still can't stand the man because he's not playing for us.
There you go. And it's pretty wild. Talking about the way points are going this season, can we just talk about Connor McDavid for a second? This guy, what is he? I don't know how many games Edmonton has played so far. I have it right in front of me. If I open my eyes, I could look. So Edmonton has played 14 games going into tonight. 14 games. Connor McDavid has 14 goals. So he's a goal a game pace right now. He's got 29 points. 29 points in 14 games. That's insane. When you look at the names on the top goal scorers list, like I would expect to see McDavid, Draisaitl, Matthews, all the big guns, Gaudreau. Right now it's McDavid, Bo Horvat, right? Who? Yeah, Bo Horvat from the Vancouver Canucks that are sucking right now. He's got 12 goals. Kaprizov, 10 goals. Erik Karlsson, the defenseman from the San Jose Sharks, who, by the way, San Jose is sucking right now too, 10 goals. And Gabriel Velarde from the LA Kings. That's crazy to see those names up there on the top score.
But it tells you what we've been saying the entire show tonight. None of our teams have come together yet. Like, your superstars are like, you know what? It's the first month of the season. Let me not sit here and play at a +10. I'm playing at a +5. They're just trying to skate along. They're getting to see. I think a lot of what happened last year, and I know we see it every year at the end of the playoffs, but I think it was very obvious at the end of the playoffs last year how many guys required massive surgeries, like massive amounts of surgery. And I wonder if these guys are not playing as hard in the beginning of the season because they know they can turn it on. Because you're describing has-beens and never will-be's, with the exception of Connor McDavid. And where is any one of the top 15 goal scorers of last year?
Yep, nowhere to be found.
They're eating popcorn in the break room.
I love seeing some of these names up here for guys that we just don't know. Hey, Sean, what's going on? To see Velarde up there, he's a young kid. So he's starting to show some promise, which is really good. One of the stats that I love and hate it at the same time, is the plus-minus, because it's such a useless category.
Agreed.
But the Seattle Kraken have two guys in the top plus-minus, with Morgan Geekie, who's a young kid, and Adam Larson, who's been around the block for a little bit, both up there in the top with plus-minus. Then who are your other guys? Again, Ryan Graves, Lindholm, Shea Theodore. So it's nice to see a little bit of a change on that side.
Again, I take a little bit of it with a grain of salt because, I always used to joke around with salesmen or salespeople in general. When I used to run different stores, whatever the product was, you would always see the guys in the beginning of the month, like the first 7, 8, 9 days of the month. They went out there and they're busting their hump and they're, hey, boss, I got this. Hey, I got this. And they're bringing in sales and this and that. By the end of the month, they're burnt out. And what happens? Somewhere around the 17th of the month, my top tier guys kick into gear. They know they got 13 days to make a paycheck on their commission. The beginning of the month, they were screwing around. They were getting their stuff together. They were tying up the month before. And then in 13 days, they absolutely shellac the guy who came out of the top 5 guys who came out the first 10 days. And it's not like a little bit. It's total destruction. And you would see the board completely flip-flop. And it happened almost every month. And I would always get the new guys that would come up to me and go, boss, what's going on? Why is it, and I'm like, it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. You have to be able to go the distance. If you can't go the distance, what you do in the first 10 days, that's where you peaked. I think the same thing is happening with the hockey world. I think a lot of what you're seeing is exactly what I described before. I don't think these guys want to get hurt as much. I think that the refs suck so bad. Nobody knows what the rules are. So when you don't know what the rules are and you're taking crap ass penalties and you have, your top 3 goal scorers sitting in the box on a power play or for a penalty kill, like what is going on? I think you're seeing a lot of those things. Plus, anytime you have the acquisition of a new franchise, I think it throws the league off for 2 years. Just an opinion. You have unprotected guys that wind up going to a new team. That's an entirely new team. You lost a couple of key people. You have to make adjustments. Add in the fact that the salary cap was not able to be adjusted for like 3 years. You lost a lot of key components because you had hedged who you were going to sign when and where and how, and you had to cut back. And I think it's reflective this season. I'm watching a ton of hockey, and what I'm not seeing is great hockey.
Yeah, so true. I love that I can hear the fireworks in the background, by the way.
I can point a camera out the window.
One guy we have to talk about is Arbor Jacki from the Montreal Canadiens, who, when you look at his name, you think, how on earth can we pronounce it? Xhekaj. How Jacki comes from that, I have no idea.
I just like the fact he's named after Arbor Day.
Yeah, he's an absolute monster, this guy. He's 21 years of age. He's 238 pounds. And the stat for his height just says 7'6". So I don't think he's 7'6". So that's got to be a little boo-boo. Let me see if I can pull up his actual.
If he's 7'6", that would mean on skates he's almost 7'9". Yeah. That means that a hip check takes a guy like Matt Zuccarello and kills him.
Of course, on when I look up the about, it says he's 1.93 meters. Well, thank you for that.
That's 8 feet tall.
Yeah, so he's 6'3", and apparently his hands are ginormous. So there are pictures of him out on the internet holding a water bottle that looks like a shot glass. Like his hands are just monsters. So he's up there right now in the league lead of penalty minutes. He's not leading the way in penalty minutes. He's third with 33 penalty minutes, behind Luke Schenn of all people and Max Comtois. But Arbor Jacki, young guy, he's going to make a big impact for Montreal.
I just want to see him fight.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great? Like he takes off his hand, like takes off the glove, and it's literally like a surgical glove that he's got to peel off. I mean, look, I'm in favor of these big dudes playing. I think that the league needs to go more towards hitting, not less. I don't know. Are you an avid football fan, or are you like American football, or are you like not really? So here's what I've said all along. The NFL has a practice squad, and it's supposed to be, and they don't have full teams playing. It's not like the AHL is playing at all times and they're competing. It's a practice squad. It doesn't.
The zombies are coming. They're banging on the
Dude, they're over my house right now. My goodness. Thankfully, that was the end of that. So basically, the NFL has a practice squad. So there's like 8 guys on either side playing, and they don't have full teams. They don't have this or that. There's no real place. Once college ends, these guys don't have anywhere to go. They're playing practice squads, or they play, as first, second, or third lineup. My goodness. And then you're on a practice squad. At least with the NHL, you have a roving, rolling player pool that you can dip into at any time. And look, is it the best thing in the world? No, but we've got to go back to where, because, like we're talking about this cross-checking. What stops this is getting your head pounded in. Sticking the goaltender in the face. That stops because you got your head pounded in. A lot of these things would be regulated because, first of all, a ref that's standing in the corner, and we've all seen this on a replay, the goal is in the center, the ref is standing at the far side boards, they're trying to look through 7 guys, and the players are getting away with murder in front of the net because they can. Well, what stops that? The guy who goes, no, uppercut. Okay, that stops that from happening. But we don't have that anymore. And a lot of it has to do with risk of injury and all the other things. That's what the AHL is there for, to be able to bring these guys up, get them NHL ready. I think coaches and general manager are mismanaging their teams, especially after what we heard last year. I mean, between what you, Bernie, and I talked about with the players that were not sort of injured, not like, hey, I got a hangnail or I broke a finger. You had a guy who had all of his core muscles ripped and was still playing. Like, what? Like, I can appreciate that level of commitment, but why is it needed?
MCL sprains, ACL sprains, tears, everything. It was ridiculous, the list of injuries.
Well, but there's an accolade for, like how high up you need to be in the playoffs. And I think that there has to be a better system in place. I think there's a better way to do hockey so that it's not like this. And GMs, you should have the ability to shuffle people back and forth and it not be on a waiver wire so that you're risking losing a player. I think that a player should be able to sit out for 2 or 3 days, get a maintenance couple of days, get healed up. You should be able to bring in the new guys so that they can play on, even if obviously they're going to get reduced minutes, but it also allows you to take a third line guy and put him on a 2-line and a 2-line to a number 1 line. What happens if they explode? What happens if they become better? These are all things that we want to do. And I think that we need to look at it differently so that players can heal themselves and there not be a mark against a team. Because I just look at the Rangers and I don't remember what the stat was. I'm sure Bernie does, but it was like 43 games in 80 days.
It's crazy.
That was the end of the season into the playoffs. It was like, you can't do that.
Yeah. And by the way, breaking news, the Detroit Damien's Dazzling Dogs having a disastrous night, dropping 6.5 points in the standings.
So that puts them far back in second place, almost by number 3.
Yeah, well, so the Believers hanging on. They're still 10 points back, but a little chunky sauce just keeps climbing.
Well, that's because they're a little chunky.
A little chunky.
You just, you roll up that chip. So, but Bernie just put in here, Caps lost 2 guys on waivers that were drafted, had to replenish that, and so what happens, and I understand there's supposed to be some, that's what your front office is for. It's stupid. You put all this time and energy into how you're building your team and this and that, and because of short-term injuries or needing to, do whatever, you wind up exposing these guys and other people are like, oh, I get to just cherry pick now. And I don't know. I think it's dumb. I think it's really stupid. Now in the NFL, you can draft off of somebody's practice squad. So a guy who's sitting on your practice squad can be signed and playing against you next week. So, I mean, I get the gamesmanship. I get how it works. But, and here's what Bernie just put. Every other night from the second half of the beginning of February 27th until the elimination by the Lightning. So we played every other night from February 27th through essentially May.
4 months.
I mean, every other day.
3 months.
So you get to a place where you go, if I was a part of the Players Association, that would be where my problem would be. So, and again, Bernie brings up another point. That would be a good way of doing it is unrestricted free agent access is where it should be waiver wire. If you're a part of that team and you have a legitimate contract, you should not be on waivers. You're not being put on waivers. There's an adjustment that the team needs to make. And I don't think there's anything wrong with benching a guy who's playing like crap if you want to bench him for 2 or 3 games. But you should be able to bring a 2-way contract player up and not worry about waivers or worry about where they're at. I think some of this contract stuff is stupid. Anyway.
I kind of like what they came up with for the COVID years where they had that taxi squad, right? And they could bring a guy up to the taxi squad and keep him there, and he could still, didn't count against the salary cap, had its own little rule set, and at least you could move guys up and down and didn't have to worry about them being waived.
So the question is, why isn't your AHL team an extension of your team? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. It has its own front office staff. It has its own coachability. It has its own everything. You're expecting that team to win, otherwise they get fired, because if not, then you would have head coaches that were on AHL teams forever. If they lined up with the current front office, they would never leave. But the problem that you have with it is you're going to pluck a guy off of his starting roster, move him up, and then all of a sudden, as he's going back down, he gets picked up by another team. It's stupid. We need to do away with the way that that's going. But that's, again, I digress. It's me being pissy about the fact that I think that it's done wrong and that there's another way of doing it. But I could talk about this all night, so I'll leave it alone.
Yeah, but those are the major stories for the last little while. I mean, there's so much more, but the big thing right now is the league is just bonkers. It's upside down. People are all over the place. And it's not just the players, the forwards too. Linus Allmark leading the way with 9 wins for the Boston Bruins. Crazy. Martin Jones, 7 wins. Jake Ottinger posting a 1.40 goals against for the Dallas Stars. All the numbers are just crazy bonkers. So as a fantasy poolie, it's an interesting year.
Did you say poolie?
I did say poolie. It's an interesting year because you never know, right? Guys who are hot right now, when you're trying to replace injured guys or whatnot, do you take a risk? Do you drop a big name? Like I have Johnny Gaudreau on my team. Do I drop him to pick up someone from the Seattle Kraken because they're super hot right now? Like there are tough decisions to be made. No, I don't because I'm not in the running. But
it's what your utility bench would be for. If you didn't like somebody, you should be moving your utility bench. For those of you who are not avid fantasy people, keep your starters in. Utilize your utility bench. If you have somebody on there that's not spectacular, drop them and pick up somebody else if they're on fire right now. If you see it going in the stats, you can always sub them out for like a Gaudreau or a Panarin or someone like that who's not playing really well right now. And as you notice, they start to go on fire, swap them out.
And I've proven myself the big curse with players. You know, I took Matthews and I cursed him in his season. I just picked up William Karlsson from Vegas because he's been hot as anything, right? Pick up Erik Karlsson. He goes in. Vegas, 7-4 win today. You know what Karlsson did? -1. No points.
And Arizona just shut out the Islanders. And they're 5-0 road trip for the Coyotes.
And I got all their rookie cards. And I got all their rookie cards.
But look at it, dude. They and by the way, it's a shutout on the Islanders, 2-0, and a 5-0 on the road trip. That's insane. And what happened? We made fun of them so bad that the award for last place is the Arizona Coyote Award. It may have to change. I mean,
might be the St. Louis Blues Award.
Might be the Rangers. You know, and that's the thing is like you're not wrong. It's a constant adjustment. That's what makes fantasy leagues so much fun is because it's not like you're going team versus team. It's you have an all-star team in and of yourself. So make the adjustments. Eichel hat trick and his return to Buffalo tonight. That's about right. Jack Eichel just gave everybody the finger. So, you know, but that's really what we're talking about is stick to your guns, watch what you're doing. If you guys are in the league, there's plenty of hockey to play, folks. There's 70 games left or 68 games left. There's plenty of time to move around, to win that trip to Vegas. Make sure that, you know, you're keeping track. I would say if I had to guess somewhere around Thanksgiving, we're probably going to do a little bit of a prize for whoever's winning at that point. What does that mean? I told you guys all along I was going to do something stupid. This will fall under that category of whoever's winning. I probably will send something to you guys just for, you know, look, we want to keep it interesting. We want you to keep trying to win, and you never know what I'm going to do when it comes to giveaways. And why can we do that? Because that guy right there, where the hell is he? He's over here. This guy right there, who's in the chat right now, by the way. That's our sponsor. He does all kinds of crazy crap because I'm insane and he always says yes. Maybe that makes him insane. But which is a good segue for if you're going to travel and you're interested, whether you're interested in traveling for sports, you want to go to Greece, you want to come to the Disney parks, you want to do anything, call Chris at Cloud9 Getaways. He sponsors literally everything. Why? Not because he's made of money, but because he believes in what he does and he's really good at what he does. I can't say enough about having, if I was single and I was still doing like my traveling to sports games, could you imagine having a guy who books your airfare, your hotel, your tickets, all what you're going to do, your itinerary hands it to you, and all you got to do is just go. Okay. Can you imagine having like you and 3 of your buddies go and he plans the whole trip for you? That's what we're talking about here. So make sure that you contact Cloud9 Getaways. Make sure you contact Chris. Tell him FPE and Samwell 12 sent you. Tell him even Strength sent you over. He's in there right now. He just put in there. He goes, I'm both. I don't even know what that means.
I had to look at that twice because my eyes played tricks on me. I looked at it and I thought he said I'm in the bath. I'm like, Chris, we don't need to know.
It's possible. I mean,
planning his next cruises.
Hey, and here's a shameless plug because why not? If you want to go on a Disney Wish, you guys are Disney fans. We happen to, I don't know, we're kind of Disney people. By the way, new shirts available on my website. Another shameless plug. If you want to go on to Disney Wish, April 28th, 29th, 30th, and May 1st, come on over. Come hang out with us. We got a special rate going on. It starts at $1,800 and some odd dollars to go into Disney Wish. We're going to Castaway Cay, Nassau, Bahamas. We're going to be on the newest boat. We're going to have a blast. And that is because of our sponsor. I got it right. Cloud9 Getaways. So make sure that you do all of those things. Come hang out with us. Come have some fun. He supports both myself and Sam. We've had a lot of good response happening with Chris, so we really appreciate that. Also, I'm going to plug me real quick and then you do you. In the parks every single day, my wife is there doing personal shopping. We also do personal concierge for anyone coming to Orlando. We work with travel agents. So if you already have your travel agent, but you want some personal touches around this area, specifically in the Disney parks or Universal, let us know. Reach out to floridaparkexplorers.com where you can get anything and everything from us that you could possibly want. So concierge, personal service, personal shopping in the parks. And we also have something called the FPE Treasure Box, which is park merch delivered to your door or to someone else as a gift or for yourself. You can do it as a monthly subscription or a one-time offer. And with that, Sam, what do you got coming up?
This week is going to be pretty crazy. Tomorrow night, it's Remembrance Day here in Canada, Veterans Day, I believe, down in the States. So we are going to be doing the Leafs and the Pittsburgh Penguins going toe-to-toe tomorrow night, Friday. And, of course, on Tuesday, the rematch in Pittsburgh, Toronto. So a little back-and-forth action with Toronto and Pittsburgh. So that's coming up. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. The streams have been absolutely gangbusters as of late. The chat has been incredible, the hockey conversation. So even if you're not a huge hockey fan, but you just enjoy some good conversation, it is the place to be.
If you want to see Sam get hit in the face with a pie, tune in. But other than that, we're also going to bring our sponsor on probably next week. So this way you guys can get to know Chris a little bit. We'll bring him on for a few-minute segment so that you guys can also ask questions. I will say this to you and I'm going to totally sandbag Chris right now because why not? Don't be surprised if while we're online, if all of a sudden we get into a bidding war and we just start giving stuff away because Chris and I love, and so does Sam, by the way. Sam's been involved in many of the giveaways that we do. It has been known to happen. So make sure that you tell everybody next week. I think we're going to be back at our regular time on Wednesday. Do you have a game on Wednesday?
I don't think so.
I don't think I do either.
Tuesday, Thursday next week.
I think I'm on Tuesday as well. So Wednesday, regardless, we will be back on. Whether it's at 9 or 10 o'clock, it'll depend upon whether or not one of us has a game. But make sure that you're tuning in next week. We're going to have some fun. We'll probably do a giveaway, something interesting. You just never know what we're going to do. So definitely make sure that you're tuned in for us next week where more shenanigans will happen. Because it's just a part of the way it goes. And you never know what's going to happen. I mean, we have a Tijuana Donkey Show. So, I mean, there's that too. Anything else you got? You did a not baseball. You did your hockey card unboxing video live stream yesterday, right?
We did the hockey card unboxing yesterday. That went horrible. Lots of Coyotes. Although we did pull the Owen Power Buffalo Young Gun. So that's going to be a good one. Hopefully that kid does well. But, yeah, it was a lot of fun. We pulled a lot of Coyotes. They got the last laugh. And before that, we just been doing Leafs, and more Leafs. So can't wait till tomorrow.
Well, it is fall, so all the leaves are falling. So, it's that sorry. I deserve to go into timeout for that one.
But I did look. I don't know if you saw it on your schedule. I noticed it on my schedule. I got to find it now. December 15th. I don't know what day of the week that is, but that is Toronto versus the Rangers in New York.
I haven't marked on my calendar because I figure what we'll wind up doing is we'll go on together and I'm going to let you call the game and I'm just going to hide. I figure it'll be like even strength. We'll kind of do a setup like this. Now, for those of you who are joining us tonight, I ask one thing because we're going to try this. I'm going to be trying this in the next day or so. I'm on a new platform. It's also another platform called Rumble. It's very much like YouTube. It acts exactly the same. I'm going to be trying to live stream a game. If it gets me taken down, I only have 18 people that have subscribed. It's not the end of the world. We'll just start over. But I want to see if that can happen. If it can, then we'll start to talk about how we can stream games and do things like that. But go over to Rumble. It's rumble.com/Florida Park Explorers. Go over, find us, hit the subscribe button. It's the same thing as YouTube, but there's not a lot of copyrights. They let us get away with murder so far. So I want to see if we get up to 100, I'm doing a giveaway over there because that'll enable us to live stream. I cannot live stream until I hit 100. So you guys got to help us out with that because I can't do it until then. So we're going to try and get up there pretty quickly. If you know anybody who likes free speech, let's try it over at Rumble. And I appreciate you. What's that?
I prefer to be censored.
Well, you live north of the border. I understand. Rumble is a lot more free flowing. Bernie, go over, hit subscribe to us. It's Florida Park Explorers. You'll recognize everything that's over there. I'm gonna as soon as we hit 100, I will go live. Literally the next day. I want to try and do things that would normally get us nailed on Florida Park Explorers. So, or over on YouTube. So please, if you guys could do that, that would be fantastic. So with that, everybody, I think we covered as much as we can. Fantasy guys and girls, make sure that you are paying attention. We got a prize coming soon. Keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep the faith. Keep putting in those guys. Keep having fun. Anything else, Sammy?
Just rock and roll. Let's get the party going. Have a good night, everybody.
And with that, peace out from the BearShark and the Natural. We'll see you guys next Wednesday right here on Even Strength. Okay. Hooray.
It's still going. Hi, everybody.
I hit the wrong thing.